Okay.
Yeah. One thing that I've
How's your
learned...
writing going?
It's coming along. I've started making, I've got a lot of plot points. The thing is that, like, to me, writing long stuff, I'm a very fast typist. The longest part with anything in my life, like from papers, research papers to stories, has always been getting the planning. Yes, the plot points, you know, the order, the timeline, you know.
Right.
It was like, that's the way that I wrote those creepypastas that I wrote. I was much younger then, of course, but I would create like an outline basically so I don't forget any important details, stuff that the audience has to see, you know, so that there's no plot holes or anything. And then...
Right. And then
I sit down and write it out, and that part is actually... that just comes natural to me.
Right on.
Yeah. Okay, we're on the air.
Can't believe we're on the air.
We're famous or some shit.
Damn. Doesn't feel like anything special. I always thought it'd feel special or something.
Fame can be very empty.
Lol. True that.
The portal is set to the new deck. Step inside.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah. You don't know.
7... I'm just thinking about Star Wars again. 7 might have actually topped 3 for me if they hadn't squandered all the stuff that they set up in 7, you know?
Right.
Like, you know my feelings on that. J.J. Abrams handed him all this stuff to work with, and he just...
He just said YOLO.
He took it in, quote, his own artistic direction. I don't know, I could be wrong.
Artistic direction's pretty shit, bro.
Right. I could be wrong. This could just be my... I'm kind of paranoid about these things, honestly. So, I'll admit I could be wrong about this, but... I wondered... I still wonder if... There was this big delay in Episode 8. It was supposed to come out in May, you know? Of that year. And it ended up getting pushed back to December. And honestly, I've always kind of suspected that the reason for that delay is that I think that they might have gone back and rewritten certain scenes in an attempt to be politically relevant because of the way that politics was changing at the time that the movie was being made.
Right. Why be politically relevant when it can just be a good movie? Thanks.
Exactly. That's how it should be, but the people who worked on it, the people responsible for the changes, have very openly and clearly, like in public and in the media, they've pushed openly that they are changing Star Wars to promote certain ideological beliefs. You know, they've been very open about that.
Lame.
Yeah, I know. I have a feeling that Disney might put a clamp down on it now because of Episode 8's because of Solo's poor performance following Episode 8, and because of Episode 8 not performing as well after it got out of theaters, you know? So I have a feeling Disney might be putting a clamp down on it, but they've been very open about the fact that they, like, are putting certain ideas into Star Wars now, you know?
Right.
The only thing that I don't know if it's true or not is if I'm right about my suspicion about the delay on Episode 8 being for them to change it as a result of changes in politics.
Right.
It's entirely possible that the movie was always going to be like that, and that the delay was just because they just genuinely needed more time, you know?
Yeah.
But I don't know, just the way that certain things don't add up in Episode 8 just gives me a hunch that... Because J.J. Abrams had left them a roadmap for 8. You know? And I know that they did not use that roadmap. Firearm fabricator.
Insufficient dark matter. Please wait.
Got him. I hate having to do that.
Do what?
Fight an enemy hand to hand, face to face, you know, in this game.
Lol. And why is that?
Because it's one of those games where you're supposed to rely on stealth, and your character's kind of weak and squishy, you know?
No.
And engaging an enemy face-to-face is extremely risky unless you have a gun, and the only gun I have right now has 3 bullets, so I need to save them. God damn it, this is bad. I had to use all 3 of my bullets to survive that.
All 3.
Yeah. And now my health is like low. I did find another gun, but this one is only a 9mm, and it only has 2 bullets in it. So that'll kill maybe one guy, maybe. I've gotten to where I mostly just use the 50 caliber.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, fuck! Asshole put that there. And it's like there are certain weapons, like you can get a riot baton and you can hit enemies with that 6 times before it breaks.
Mm-hmm.
Or you can get the glass knife, and you can hit enemies only 3 times with the glass knife. But the thing is that the baton takes, like, at least 2 hits to kill anything, and the knife kills in 1. And it's the same with the guns. The 9mm takes at least 2 bullets to kill anything, but the 50 caliber will kill in 1 shot. So it's like, I might as well just take the glass knife and, you know, the 50 cal, and go for 1-hit kills.
I'll one-hit kill your ass.
Oh man.
You're his ass.
Yeah, I do like how they made the duel between Obi-Wan and Maul really short, you know?
Mm-hmm.
That was cool.
Escape artist. Deploy to elude. Sense of death.
Okay, there's a firearm fabricator behind me. Let's go get another 50 caliber. Bingo.
50 caliber.
What's his name? O-B-I-N-G-O, B-I-N-G-O. Bingo was it?
Ooh.
I can't believe Bingo shot it all over the carpet.
Gross.
Very. Oh, that's limited. ARX 160. What's that?
I don't know.
What do I even talk to you if you don't?
What kind of gun is that? What is it?
Assault rifle.
Hmm. In the United States, usually an X in a name refers to a gun being experimental. But I don't know if that's an American gun or not.
Right.
Like XM8 was the experimental assault rifle that was supposed to replace the M4, but it never happened. ass assault rifle.
Yep. It looks like an ass and it should assault at you.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm AR-60, a next generation weapon. Yeah, it didn't seem like it. Well, I'm close enough, right? Oh yeah, that is limited time weapon. Cool!
What's limited mean? Like it's not... It's only in the game for a bit?
Yeah. Limited time campaign Operation Cube drop reward.
Okay. Okay, I killed those bitches without using any bullets. There's a firearm oh, fuck! I hate that shit.
Affleck.
Fuck a oh! Fuck a duck.
Ducks. What did they ever do to you? Gosh.
Oh, yeah. You know, it was one of the most annoying video game mechanics ever?
What?
The original Metroid,
What about it?
the way that the less you had of something, the more rare it became. So, like, if you were really low on health, it would be, like, extremely rare for a health power-up to appear.
That sounds dumb.
And, like, if you had almost no missiles, then it would be extremely rare for a missile ammo pickup to appear. But if you had a bunch of health, like if you were really healthy, or if you had, like, a bunch of, you know, missiles, then they would appear, you know, plentiful.
That is annoying.
Yeah, it was immensely frustrating. It's like, if you got to a certain low level of health, there would come a certain point where it would be better just to die and, you know, go back and respawn, you know?
Yeah.
Because it takes fucking forever to get your health back up.
It takes forever to get the key bulge out.
Mm-hmm.
The gay bulge. The gay bulge.
I have to ask Zill about the gay bulge if he comes around.
Not the gay bulge.
Fabricant. And 3D print some shit. We had discussions about 3D printed guns, right?
Yep.
Yeah. That guy in Japan making those 3D printed revolvers that he designed himself.
Right.
That was insane.
Insane in the membrane.
He should have just moved to America, you know?
Well.
He could have made all the guns he wanted here and nothing would happen to him.
Easier said than done.
Very true. Our current immigration program is kind of biased against countries like Japan, as it stands right now.
Why is that?
One of the biggest reasons is the diversity lottery. Another reason is chain migration.
Lottery?
Yeah, the diversity lottery, which
Heck is
mainly
that?
mainly it's kind of like a form of immigration charity that promotes bringing in people from very poor people from like third world countries, people who don't have education, such like that, you know.
I see.
Um, People who don't speak English. And then chain migration takes up a lot of spots in the immigration queue. So people from Mexico who move here, for example, you know, their extended family gets precedence over new immigrants from, say, Asia, you know.
Right.
It mostly is treated, immigration right now is treated like a charitable operation. It's easier to get immigration here if you're, frankly, if you're don't have education, and if you're, you know, like I said, if you don't speak English, you know, for some weird reason. It's just, it's backwards how they do it right now, kinda. I think my buddy Juan, you know, he came here and went to college here, and he wanted to stay here and live here, and he would have been a wonderful citizen, honestly. But he was rejected, you know. The vast majority of immigrants we take in are from, like, South American countries, poor countries, and they're unskilled, you know, and then they bring their whole families in and stuff like that. Which, I mean, I know I've gone over this before. I'm not 100% opposed to having spaces for unfortunate people to come here, you know. But when it's a drain on society as a whole, you can't just do that forever and make that the vast majority of your immigration, you know? It's not sustainable. Yeah, the way we handle it right now is really screwed up, because we'll bring people here and put them through college with, like, public money, and then we won't let them become citizens here and put that knowledge to work for us. We just send them home instead.
That's weird.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what happened with Juan, you know? It's like, taxpayers helped to educate my friend Juan, and he wanted to live here, and he loved this country, you know?
Right.
But no, he can't stay. He has to go home and pay taxes.
Juan didn't... I guess he did. That doesn't work.
You're gonna pun, huh? I bet.
I was.
He who would pun would just as soon pick a pocket. Give me 1 second. Yeah, I don't know. Personally, I'm kind of bitter about Juan not getting to stay, you know? I'm pretty sure I've mentioned this before, but that's one of the reasons why I like Trump's immigration plan, is that his reform would make it easier for people like Juan. They would get, you know, they would get the better spots in line, you know, people like him.
Right.
I mean, we've discussed the economics of immigration in passing before too, you know. Like, the economic reasons why Asians in the United States tend to have very high IQs.
Right.
And the way that that makes it harder for Asians to get into universities. Get a little more ammo for this, and then let's go fight. Have you heard about South Africa? What's going on there?
What's going on there?
The government has started saying that they're going to start confiscating land from whites and from whites, coloreds, and Zulu blacks possibly, and giving it to non-Zulu blacks.
That sounds fair.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like well, they blame colonialism for the lower social status of non-Zulu blacks in South Africa, a big part of the populace. If I recall, during the Cold War, the KGB, which spent most of its money on societal subversion, promoted and pushed ideas and ideologies that told blacks in South Africa that basically that their poverty is the result of capitalists' exploitation of them, you know, of their labor and such. The same thing happened in Rhodesia, which is now Zimbabwe. And Rhodesia is a disaster now. Well, Zimbabwe is a disaster now. Mass starvation, because what happened was they nationalized all of the farms in Zimbabwe. They took all the land away from the farmers, you know, and had the government run it. And then all the farms failed because nobody in the government knew how to farm.
Right, yeah. I'm talking about this.
Yeah. So there's massive famine there right now. To the point that Robert Mugabe, the dictator, or president, or somewhere in between, like president for life, he actually, frankly, what he actually did, literally, was beg white people to come back to the country. Don't necessarily need white people. Nobody wants to move back there now, though. Nobody who's white, because they don't want... They saw what happened to the other whites. But you just need to teach people how to farm, is what you need to do.
Yeah.
And you need to let them own their own land so that they'll have the incentive to take good care of it. Instead of nationalizing it. I guess now they're getting exploited by China. China's moved in, essentially, and they're doing the same exact thing that the whites did, but they're paying less. They're paying the blacks less than the whites did. Yeah, it's a clusterfuck, but I mean, that's what communism does to nations. Yeah, a lot of people are terrified that South Africa may be doing the exact same thing that Zimbabwe did.
What do I do again?
They confiscated all the land from the farmers and nationalized it all. And killed or expelled most of their white population. Racial dynamics in South Africa are a lot more complicated, though. It isn't just white and black. You know, like I said, there's the whites, but then there's also the coloreds, they call them. And then there's the Zulu blacks. And they're all on the same side. And the side that the communists have been pushing is the side with the largest population, which is the non-Zulu blacks. They appeal to them, and that's how they get a democratic majority, you know?
Right.
It resulted in something called the Zeph movement going on there now. Which is pretty much an appeal by the whites and the coloreds and the Zulus to get along. Do you know how apartheid worked? Have you ever heard that term?
Yes.
Okay, do you
can
know
have
the...
to refresh my memory.
Okay, well, kind of the specifics on it was essentially, and I agree that this is a bad thing, but understand that the situation is always very, it's never as black and white as it seems,
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
Essentially, at its core, apartheid was, you had one set of laws for the whites and the coloreds in South Africa, and another set of laws and another government for the non-Zulu blacks. And then the Zulu blacks were still basically a monarchy. They had their own land, they have a king, and they basically keep to themselves, you know.
Okay.
What happened essentially is that the way that South Africa began was white colonialists from the Netherlands, you know, Dutch people, and the UK. During the age of colonialism, they went to South Africa and they found a plot of land where there was nobody, you know, there was no ruling tribe there, you know, and they started they established their own country there, their own cities, their own colony, you know, and lived by and large in harmony with the natives, you know, who lived separately. And they had a democratic society, you know, it was a parliamentary system. Well, sorry, picking out a gun here. Well, a lot of the natives ended up wanting to be a part of this new society, you know? They were starving, you know, a lot of them. They wanted work, you know, they wanted jobs. So they went to these white colonists looking for work. And they gave them work and stuff. And basically, though, they didn't become citizens. They lived in the same country. God damn it. I died. It was like, basically, imagine two governments, two countries existing in the same space, right?
You might be able to use your super sense to detect lurkers sooner next time.
They
and
let
when you
them...
hear them scream, get your shield up fast. Good advice. Thanks.
Sorry, the people in the game are talking now, and it's drowning me out. Let's see, where was I? Oh, wow. Force field. Okay, well, basically two sets of laws, because they didn't become citizens of the colony of South Africa, but the South Africans let them live there, let them work for them, you know. They shared the same space. And it was a symbiotic relationship that benefited everyone, you know. The natives who worked for the white colonists became wealthier, had stable employment, you know, could get education, stuff like that. And the white colonists got labor, you know, they got people to work on their farms and such.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so that's really what apartheid was all about. It was like, it wasn't truly ever a racial thing. It was just that, you know, this colony was there, and the people, the citizens of the colony, of the Commonwealth, were the ones who could vote in their parliament and in their government. And essentially, they didn't want all these new votes coming in, you know, from, frankly, a large number of natives who have never had education on economics and stuff like that, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So, in a sense, like, it is kind of messed up that it was almost like second-class citizenship, but
Mm-hmm.
they were still better off than they would have been living on their own, you know? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Steady employment, you know, the whole, they became more prosperous, you know? So, I mean, it's like, it would be like if we allowed people from Mexico to move to the United States, you know, if we just said, come on through, and we didn't make them citizens, but we did let them, you know, we did let them get jobs, you know?
Yeah.
That's the moral equivalent of what it would be like.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, when you look at it that way, it doesn't really seem all that bad, does it, you know? Well, I mean, what's your opinion on it?
No, it doesn't sound bad, no.
Oh, okay. I mean, there are a lot of Mexicans who would, in a heartbeat, they would jump to come here and say, yeah, we don't care about voting, we just want to, you know, be able to get a job and stuff, you know? So that's essentially what was going on with apartheid. And then the end of apartheid is when they put all of the people there became citizens, and suddenly all of the entire non-Zulu black population could now vote. And they also made, for whatever reason, they made representation in parliament based on race. So, like, 20% of the parliament, only 20% of the parliament can be white in South Africa under the new system post-apartheid, and the other 80% has to be black. And ever since then, the country has gone very far to the left on economic issues. Just radical left on economic issues. To the point that they're starting to embrace some communist behaviors, such as, like I said, the government just passed a law making it legal for the government to confiscate land for free from whites.
Right.
So the end of apartheid was, for a long time, it was
That's the portal for
celebrated.
deck 2.
But the end results have been, consequently, the economy has been getting worse. There's more poverty, a lot more crime. You know, the country as a whole has been going downhill for everyone since the end of apartheid.
Right.
And that's why it's such a difficult situation to me, is that apartheid is not an ideal situation. You know, having a bunch of people who are second-class citizens. But yet, in practice, everyone was better off under it. Everyone was better off under it than anyone is now.
Right.
So my personal opinion is they should have found a different solution. Apartheid probably should not have continued forever. It is not an ideal situation, but the solution of just ending it immediately and then what has followed has been even less ideal. Basically, this is it's a messed up world that that we live in.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest problems in it to me is that in democratic societies, there are too many people who cast their vote based on the way that they wish things are, rather than voting based on the way that things actually are.
Right.
Oh, two of them? What kind of fabricator is this? Oh. So basically, Thanos did nothing wrong.
That's not wrong.
Strong Fury .50 caliber.
If you think about it, it's kind of insane how Infinity War has basically been, you know, over pretty much a decade in the making, you know?
Yeah.
Because Thanos first appeared in the first Avengers movie.
Yep. It's weird.
Yeah.
Marvel movies are basically normal. Or basically a genre now at this point.
Yeah. Hey, I'm not complaining. Me and my dad both we eat that shit up.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Everyone in theaters. Kind of like tradition now.
Yeah. He was blown away when he saw Avengers, you know. He first thought that he wasn't that interested in it, you know. But then I was like, I explained to him, like, he enjoyed Iron Man, for example, you know.
Mm-hmm.
He enjoyed a lot of the individual movies, but he didn't think Avengers was going to be good. And then I was like, no, you got to see it because, like, Iron Man is in there, and he's played by Robert Downey. Like, you liked Iron Man, you know? And he's played by Robert Downey Jr. just like in Iron Man. And, like, they even use the same, like, cinematography style. Like, they have the scenes where, you know, you see Iron Man and you see his heads-up display, like, inside the helmet, you know? Yeah. And, like, I explained all that to him, and then he seemed a lot more interested in it, and then he really loved it, you know? It's just that one thing that bothers him, kind of, is, like, when movies don't keep, like, the same actors and stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
You know? That bugs him. So, like...
That bugs me, too.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. That was one of the reasons why I...
Like Hulk, for example.
Yeah, Hulk has been frustrating, but my dad hates Hulk anyway. He just...
Well, I mean, at this point, though, the current Hulk is like the Hulk.
Yeah, very true.
It's more
yeah.
that, like that. I wish the original movie was him instead.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be fun. Granted,
Yeah.
that wasn't like a great movie anyway, but
The Atlas Shrugged movies, that was very sad for me, those movies, because
the Atlas Shrug.
Atlas Shrugged, it's based on a book by Ayn Rand.
All right,
Yeah,
what's that about?
essentially it's about the objectivist ideology, a story. She was a very libertarian. She was a Russian American, a Russian immigrant to the United States, and she wrote a lot of anti-communist, pro-liberty literature. And Atlas Shrugged was one of her best, they say. But they made it into a movie. Hollywood would never make it into a movie because Hollywood doesn't agree with it. Hollywood is primarily a bunch of socialists, But an independent theater made it into a movie, and unfortunately the quality of the first one was pretty good. It was okay. But after that, they never got the same actors again, So, like, it was divided into 3 parts because it's such a long movie, and the quality just went down with each movie, and it was just sad to watch. Like, by the 3rd movie, it was just, frankly, it was cringeworthy. Part 3 of Atlas Shrugged was just cringeworthy.
How bad was it?
Well, they had to cut a lot from it. The acting was silly. The way that they, like, changed and shortened certain things was retarded. Like, I actually thought they did a pretty good job on the first one, but unfortunately, not a very big part of the American public is very interested in Atlas Shrugged, so basically you're just appealing to the libertarian crowd with that movie. The Ron Paul supporters, would be the only ones who cared to go see it. I find it funny, Russian novelists are very passionate, in my experience. For some reason, they're really good at writing romance. Nabokov, Tolstoy.
Yeah, I wouldn't know any of those names.
Mm. Well, Nabokov was the man who wrote Lolita.
Yeah.
I may have told you about that before. It's a book about a pedophile, essentially.
Yeah. I've heard of it.
Yeah, but he manages to make a beautiful story about a very sick subject matter. Ideologically, his belief is that art, the sake of art, should just be art, is his belief. That beauty should be the purpose of art,
Right.
And that the subject matter does not matter, which he came from Russia to the United States. And in Russia, the Soviet Union, art was expected to have a purpose,
Right.
The government funded art, and it was all supposed to, like, push socialist, communist ideals, promote their values or something like that, to send a message. Whereas Nabokov felt that art could send a message, but that should not be the only reason, art should be for the sake of art, whether it sends a message or not,
Mm-hmm.
deal with these assholes. Oh, somebody's playing Fire Emblem Heroes.
Shush. Shush you. Sushi.
Just give me the gun. God, these guys are fucking retards.
Damn, you must get along with them well then.
Damn it! Oh, I got one. Headshot, bitch. There's 3 of them. I do like the way that in games like this, where stealth is key, it's great to be able to, like, lean your head around a corner, you know? And peek out. I don't only play VR, no, like, but lately I've been playing mostly VR, I guess.
He only plays VR, he's lying.
And welcome back to the stream. Nice to see you again. I think it is good, yeah, it's real good if you ask me. It's a lot of fun.
Any chance of another temporary shield boost, Serena? Absolutely. I'm setting it up now. Sweet.
Sweet, she says. I don't have to fight again, do I? I don't have bullshit. I already beat this room. God, I hate it when they do that. They have a lot of shit set up in this game to jump scare you. Like, you'll be walking down a hall and then a ceiling tile will just fall from the ceiling, you know? Like, right in your face. You can still hear me, right?
Yeah, hi.
Okay.
I wasn't sure if you're talking to...
Oh. Try refreshing the video. A 2-minute delay sounds like way too much. Try refreshing the video maybe, or make sure that it's on live, that you're watching live and not with a slight delay.
Storm Fury with the 50 caliber.
Wish I knew what that shit did. Okay, maybe it's getting a little better then. I'm gonna go out of the airlock. I'm gonna go out in space and blow up.
There's a supply crate.
Your ass.
See if you can reach it. It's likely to have something really useful. Lower the blast shields from the terminal before the compartment decompresses. Hurry!
Okay, made it. Oh man, I love Alien Isolation. That's a scary as hell game, yeah. I wish that it was in VR. I would totally buy a remaster of Alien Isolation in VR.
Schematic. It can be fabricated in recovery.
I'm loving M500. She's an awesome tank. I can't wait till I get her some more levels, you know? When I really get her...
Right.
She's gonna be incredible once I really get her up to pace, you know?
Uh-huh.
I'm using her and, Scorpion as tanks for that echelon right now. Whereas Scorpion used to have to tank for that by herself.
Yeah.
I always forget that I have that damn thing. I need to remember that I have that.
What? Oh.
An item called the Escape Artist.
What's that do?
If you get in deep shit, you use the Escape Artist and it teleports you somewhere safe.
Let's see.
I gotta be right back. I need something to drink and I've been holding in a pee for a while.
TMI gross.
Okay. Back in just a couple minutes here. I'm almost back. Let me get my headset on in a sec.
Okay.
Okay. The hell? Where did I put my drink? Ugh. Okay. Sorry for that delay. I'm here now, so let's get this headset back on. Okay, I got my earphones back in so I can hear you.
Huzzah.
Let's see. Okay, it's after 1, so the new GFL day is on. Do you know what collecting Kalina's hearts does?
Oh yeah, you'll eventually unlock like alternate outfits for her.
Yeah, I did get a costume, and
Yeah, that's about all I know they're good for.
yeah, you get achievements. I do know that.
Oh, that's you, I guess, yeah.
Yeah, you get achievements for collecting her hearts. If that's all it is, then that's enough. You know, that's nice enough as it is. All you have to do is go, collect her hearts.
Yeah, just poke her a bunch.
Let's see, getting hearts from one of the girls. Gotta get the hearts. Gotta marry Thompson sooner or later.
Lol.
Shit. What are you up to? You playing Fire Emblem?
Farming up. Well, I'm doing the Operation Cube right now on GFL
Oh,
on my
okay.
tablet while playing the rhythm game on my phone.
Yeah. I love how GFL isn't one of those games where you have like an AP limit and then like suddenly you can't play anymore, you know?
Yeah,
You can pretty much play as much as you want
as long as you manage your stuff.
yeah, as long as you have available echelons and such. Time to upgrade that shit in the data room. Ancient computer, time required is reduced.
God damn it, really?
I don't
My
know,
screen glitched for a second and I lost my combo.
I hate when shit like that happens. I'm upgrading the data table.
Because I'm trying to get like perfect combo in every song. It's like, there goes that.
So it's kind of like pooping, because I mean you made a little poo noise there.
Your voice is kind of low.
Oh shit! Sorry, I'm just. If anybody's out there in the audience, I'm sorry about this. I'm just dealing with some squat real quick. I'm gonna get back to the game. If you're bored, you can feel free to leave, but I'll be playing again soon.
Okay, bye.
I wasn't talking to you. You have to stay here. You have to stay with me.
God damn it.
You're stuck
Why
here, man.
me?
Yeah.
Why me?
Yeah, you're stuck. You're trapped.
It's a fate worse than death.
Okay, let's see. You girls are gonna go fight that guy. I can let this play itself while I put my headset back on. I can just peek out of my headset every now and then. Okay. Wait a minute. Adjust the focus, and there we go. Okay. Still don't know the best way to kill these guys aside from a grenade. Holy shit.
2 grenades.
I think my controller battery's about to die, man. What the shit? Oh, man. It is. It's borderline dead. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm gonna end the stream because I have to deal with this. My controller's almost dead. Thanks for hopping in. I might bring the stream back up a little later. But I gotta figure out what to do with my controller.
Plug it in.
Well, yeah, but